This is Lazar, and I helped him scale his faceless AI YouTube channel to almost $10,000 a month. If you want to learn how to master faceless AI YouTube videos and make an income online, you're going to want to watch this. You were at $2,000 a month, and then after working with me after like, what, a month or two, what is it doing now?
Now it's almost 10K.
That's crazy.
Oh,
That's crazy. Hey, yo.
10K goal was, something I set up for this year. By the end of the year, I was thinking, okay, I'll start working with Caleb, okay, and let's say December, I would like to have, 10K a month. And literally in 1.5 months, after implementing those simple but important things, it all went up just.
you like manifested that 10K a month, eh?
Yeah.
So bro, I want to like be able to like share this with other people. So like fill me in, tell me, like, because we're obviously recording right now. So fill me in, just give people like a backstory, like a short backstory of kind of where you came from and where you're heading now, but most importantly where you came from, because I think for a lot of people, they look at us and they're like, oh, they probably had a lot of advantages than other people and blah blah blah. So like fill them in on kind of the disadvantages and advantages that you had in your journey.
I think that I'm the best example of that. How someone who has, I'm not a native English speaker, as you can hear, and my English is not the best. But I started as someone that was completely out of that, tech story, YouTube story. I was truck driver for 5 years. I'm boxer. I come from a completely different background. I never thought in my mind that I would actually sometimes in my life do anything that has anything with internet or laptops or technology or YouTube. Then that was 2.5 years ago, I think, and I somehow found your Instagram account, and I started looking about that YouTube automation. I didn't even know what is that and how to create videos. My first ever YouTube video, when I uploaded, I didn't know how to add the thumbnail, where, how, I didn't know anything about YouTube. Then I
So
started.
real quick though, sorry, I'm going to slow you down real quick. So if I understand correctly, okay, so what country are you from? Slovakia, right?
Serbia, Serbia.
Serbia. Okay, got you. So you're from Serbia. Okay, so first off, that right there, most people won't even understand that. Most people think, oh, like he's probably has advantages like Americans have advantages. No, this guy came from a completely different country and you still made it work, right? You had a lot of disadvantages. Like, for example, you mentioned how, like, for you, like language barrier in some ways. But what I want people to really focus on is you mentioned how you saw me on Instagram. You didn't know
Yeah.
anything about YouTube automation, but you obviously saw me showing off what I was doing in the life that I had, and you were curious. Did you buy like my lowest ticket course back in the day? It was like 200 bucks
Yeah.
maybe. I forgot how much it was. Do you remember?
Mm, I remember it was $27
It was
course.
$27. Even better.
$27. And I was just curious, okay, $27 is nothing, obviously.
Yeah.
I took a look at that and I was interested in that. So I started doing what I was interested in, history, things like that. And I think about 1 year later, I was doing YouTube whenever I had time, nothing crazy. That I focused only on that. I had other things in my life. So 1 year later, I got into monetization only following your advices. I don't think actually yesterday I was preparing for this meeting and I was thinking about what else I was looking, in terms of lessons and advices. I think I only followed your advices and your lessons, maybe something for thumbnails and things like that from graphic designers. But when it comes to YouTube, I only followed you and your lessons.
Yeah. I think I wonder if that's probably what helped you a lot, because I think the problem is people take advice from everyone and then they try to combine it, which granted in my opinion, you should still try to learn from other people, but like be careful because there's many ways to succeed, many different roads you can take to succeed with YouTube. But if you try to combine 5 roads into one road, it doesn't work. Right? It's like you
Yeah.
kind of have to just pick the lane and then go all in and really learn it. So I think you mainly just trying to take my advice and literally just taking it for word and doing the work, not trying to add on to it, not trying to like underdo it, which is what most people do. That probably gave you a huge advantage, and exploded you. So you went from, let me just get this correct on timeline. So you bought the $27 course, which by the way, we
Yeah.
don't even go that low anymore on pricing because we know the value it provides. We were like giving it away for like almost free. So you got it for really cheap. You really learned the strategies on your own because you didn't have a lot of advantages or thousands of dollars. And then once you implemented it, you did get on your own to $2,000 with that course, right? A month around that. Is that what happened?
Yeah. That was in one. We needed 1 year just to get into monetization, and through the next year, we came from zero to about $30,000 in ad revenue for a whole year.
That's
So
crazy. What is the lifetime that you've made so far from the channel?
I think it's about 40, a little bit under 50K, I think.
50K. Nice.
Yeah.
Now, what happened is where once you got that $2,000 a month with the mini course, then you took those strategies and now you're at a point where you're like, okay, now I'm going to work with me one on one because that's how we scale it. And then
Yeah.
a month later of working with me one on one, now you're at almost 10K or so a month.
Just that I knew that if those things are that you're giving either for free on your YouTube channel or Instagram or for low price, for $27, if I pay, higher ticket, I knew that that information would be more valuable and that would help me,
That's
for sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
that
so I
was,
mean that just like gives people, I think hopefully that gives people motivation that like it doesn't matter where you come from as long as you can speak a level of English. You don't even have to speak it, honestly, if you can just understand it. As long as you do a level of English like that. And at that point, if you have a Wi-Fi connection and maybe a laptop, do you have a laptop, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Laptop, Wi-Fi connection, a little bit of English, bro,
that's
success.
it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
all you really need because, everything else is with AI and you don't need like a fast graphics card or anything like that. So, fill me in though, what was like the turning point? Like what made you though pick YouTube automation compared to other businesses? Were you like browsing around at other business models that you were kind of curious? Were you getting hit with different ads? Or were you just straight on YouTube sounds the most interesting? Let me just go right in. Like which was it?
I think the most important thing was that I was looking for something that I can do remotely. I wanted to be free to travel and still earn some money. And I think that YouTube was the most important thing about YouTube was that I would be absolutely free, geographically and things like that. That was the most important. And then, I have a lot of knowledge about history and other topics that I'm personally interested in. And if I could combine to work about for with something that I actually love and I know about, and I can still earn money and I can be anywhere in the world, that was, winning combination for me. When
Awesome.
it comes to
What
YouTube.
what
So
is like your parents' reaction now? Now that you've made good money, have you ever like you showed them your success, right?
yeah, I think that my mom is still quite don't believe that because I was a truck driver. I started
Yeah.
driving a truck with 18 years old, and I competed in boxing. I'm still competing. I'm from completely different background, so anyone starting YouTube now has no excuses. I
Right.
started with someone that absolutely didn't know anything about YouTube or laptops or computers, technology, internet, anything. So if I did it, I think anybody can do it.
For you and everything, what was the key thing you think that you can share with people that you did to go viral? Because I think that I want to give people some practical advice, some valuable information that they could like right now execute on to make, get their own channel off the ground. What is like a key? I know there's a lot of key things, but what is like if you had to be like this might be on the top of the list, that you've learned, working with me in like the course, what would be that key thing you can share with someone, a key lesson?
I think that idea behind the video is the most important thing. If you make a video that is about something that you are passionate about, but 99% people are not, you can have the best thumbnail or title or video, it's not going to get viral, in my opinion. So when I realized that I should focus on things that are most people interested in that niche, specific niche, uh, that that was the key of success for my channel. So I think that that is the most important thing. And whole packaging of video, just that title, thumbnail, and idea combination is, I think, what you should do 70% of your time to allocate to that.
Right.
So
How many video ideas on average do you make um versus finally getting to the final idea? So like for example, you make 10 ideas, but you only pick one, let's say. Like how many would that ratio be, you think?
I think it would be about, yeah, just like you said, it's about 10 to 1, I think.
Yeah, 10 to 1.
Would
Yeah.
get a lot of ideas, then I try to see if there is enough material for that topic to create a 10-minute video in my case. then I mean, first thing is that I try to create a thumbnail for that. If I can't make the thumbnail, I abandon idea altogether. So
How many thumbnails do you do? Like thumbnail concepts for people to know?
I don't know. I just start trying, different ideas, and I just somehow, when it clicks in my mind, okay, that might be a good thumbnail. Then I start making versions around that specific thumbnail, and still, it sometimes turns out to be, complete failure. But um, I don't know. I don't have, a specific rule for how many versions or variations. I just start working around it, and 5 hours later, I have it starts to take a shape.
Yeah. So like I'll fill people in. So on average, so what you'll do, I've noticed, like you'll send me a bunch of photos of like examples of what a thumbnail looks like that you're thinking about running with. And not on average, I've noticed you have two to three that you'll send me is what I've noticed per video idea. You'll
Yeah,
make two to three different thumbnails to see which one might stand out. And what's smart that I've actually only seen so many clients actually do this. Like I tell clients to do it, but they don't obviously do it. But only so many do it. And you're one of the people that only so many do it for is that you take your thumbnail and you put it. Do you use what's that one website? It's like a thumbnail. Was it Click something? You know, the Click Pilot. Do you use
click
Click
pilot.
Pilot?
Yeah,
Yes. So you use the Click Pilot website, and I see that you display your thumbnail on it, right? And then it compares to all the other, as if it's on the YouTube homepage, and it compares to all the
yeah,
other
yeah.
thumbnails around it. And that's how you like pretty much figure out, oh, like what would it look like? Would people actually click on it, or does it kind of almost become it doesn't disappear and vanish in all the noise of everybody else, right? And that's
Yeah,
something I think is a huge tip that I think for sure people need to know about how your thought process is that probably got you a lot of success was simply just that mindset
for
of like
sure,
looking at that.
for sure. Yeah. And I
So,
saw that from you. I think you recommended click pilot.
yep.
So yeah, I think it's a huge tool.
So what would you say to someone who's kind of like on the fence right now though, who want to start a YouTube automation channel. They want to support their family. Obviously, they want to travel the world or whatever it is that they have of goals to make an income online. But they're scared or maybe they're confused because there's so much information nowadays online. I feel like there's more information today than there was in the past, like when you started.
Yeah, yeah,
People get bogged down by so many different options of things to do. And they get confused or they get scared of taking a risk. Like you said, like even still to this day, your mom doesn't even believe it's real, right?
yeah.
Like despite all of the evidence and the proof of all of us making so much money and have been for a long time, because I've been doing this for almost a decade, bro. So like it works for a long time. Despite all of that, most people, especially like the older generation, they typically are like, it's probably not reliable, it's probably not safe. But first off, from my end, and then I want your advice and like your perspective. But for my point of view, I'm like, okay, let's just say you were right. I don't believe it is, but let's just say you were right that YouTube isn't that sustainable. You're still making money. So if you make the money now for let's just say 2 to 3 years, you make a good amount of money. Let's say 100K a year. You live on 50, 60K a year, maybe. You take 40K of that money, put it into real estate, right? Like now you have a property that does make you, that's physical, that's tangible, that everyone across the world would agree is the most legit business, right? And you're making, you can charge rent or whatever, or sell it, sell the property later for more money. But it's still money. It's cash that can get you in the door of other things you may want to do, other business
Yeah.
opportunities. What is your perspective and advice you would tell someone who is kind of on the fence right now and scared about going into it?
I think that um, how I looked at it, I was thinking, I can always go back to driving a truck where I was before in the same company, if that fails. So I didn't lose anything. I can try, and I think that people should try. And if it fails, it fails. You go back to this exactly same place where you were before. It does not have to mean that that's the end of the world, if it fails.
Yeah.
But you never know if you don't try. I think that people should try and should keep trying and push through those errors and trials. Just take one thing, start executing, doing, trying different things, and eventually you'll find something that works. And that's what happened with me. I started this YouTube channel with completely different idea. I was thinking about completely different niche and things like that. And by doing, all those different things, I somehow found what actually works and focused on that. And that's it.
How many niches did you pivot before you found like the winner niche for yourself?
I mean, it was basically this. I started unbelievable true stories like that, scary stories. Then I realized that most of them are too graphic for YouTube. Then I pivoted to some battles and history, dry history channel that didn't work either. So I eventually I somehow combined all those things that the people are interested in, into one channel, and it works quite well for now.
For you though, like that was what, two pivots? Is that what it was, or how many pivots? That's
I
what it sounds
think
like.
three or four
Three or
maybe.
four. Okay. That's I just want people to understand that because that's a common thing, even for myself, that I've noticed is on average, like don't expect your first niche that you go into to be a success. Like I've noticed, like on average, the successful person does at least two, maybe three pivots. I've actually seen that. Now, if you have a mentor, obviously that speeds up the process because someone like me, I have so many channels and niches that I've seen work and doesn't work. So that will speed up your process of being able to pivot quickly. But even then, you still got to pivot sometimes. You know, if a product doesn't work, you don't keep trying to sell the same products. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Find another version of the product or a
Yeah,
different angle to be able to sell the product and it will work. So I think that's also something I caught from you that I think is really smart to tell other people so that way they go into it with the right expectations, that it's okay to mess up the first time as long as you go at it again. And I think the second thing that you said, which is really inspiring, is the fact that like ask yourself, if you don't go for it, you're gonna have more regrets than failing and trying, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
imagine like you go, but imagine you, right? Truck driving. You're truck driving, you saw me on Instagram, you watched everything, you kind of dabbled and looked into it, but you're like, I don't know, I'm kind of scared to do it. My mom says it's not real, right? So at that
yeah,
point, you don't walk into it, and then you're still truck driving a year later, and then today, imagine you in that point of view, and you're like, what if I tried? Like, what if I
yeah,
did make 10K a month? And here you are today making 10K a month. Imagine that younger version of yourself back then, literally just like, maybe I shouldn't go for it. Like that.
yeah.
That's crazy to think how different your life would be.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You'll never know if you don't try, Even if you fail, I think if I failed and went back to my old company where to continue driving a truck, okay, I tried, At least I tried. Now I knew. I would still have that peace, not still wondering what would happen if I tried, things like that. So yeah, people should definitely try and persist. I think that people have that problem with everything in life in general, that they try something for a month or 2 months and it doesn't work and they give up, and then try the next thing and still, you have to choose something, to pick something and make it work, That's at least my opinion. So
Agreed. Awesome, man. Well, congrats, dude. Keep on
thank you.
killing it.
Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
for your help.